From the outside, my life appeared perfect, a polished image, a career to be proud of, and a warm, inviting smile that hid all my cracks. Friends described me as reliable, my family viewed me as their rock, and my colleagues respected me for my diligence. But beneath this carefully constructed mask was a person weighed down by secrets. The truth was, I lived a double life, harboring a hidden addiction that controlled me in ways I couldn't admit. It began innocently, or so I told myself, with small indulgences, a glass of wine to unwind or an extra dessert for comfort. But those harmless actions snowballed into something much darker, something I was too ashamed to confront. I would go to great lengths to maintain appearances, excelling at work, being present at family events, and ensuring no one suspected a thing. But every night when the world was quiet and I was alone, I would descend into behaviors that brought me comfort, but left me hollow. I didn't set out to have an addiction. No one does. It crept into my life so slowly that I didn't realize the damage it was doing. At first, it was something harmless, a reward for a long day or a way to de-stress. For me, it began with sweets, chocolates, and comfort foods. I convinced myself it was normal. But soon, those midnight binges turned into daily rituals. I would sneak snacks into my room, eating alone in secret to avoid judgment. It didn't stop there. Over time, my cravings extended to online shopping. It felt like a high to receive packages, as if they could fill the emptiness I couldn't explain. I justified it, telling myself I deserved nice things after all my hard work. But when my credit card bills began piling up and my weight began to spiral, I knew I was losing control. The worst part about having an addiction isn't the act itself. It's the lies you tell to cover it up. I became an expert in deception, making excuses for why I couldn't attend outings or explaining away my drained bank account. I had an unexpected expense, I would say, or I've been too busy to meet up. I knew they were catching on, especially my closest friends. They would ask if I was okay, their concerned eyes cutting through my fragile facade. At work, I was praised for my discipline. But little did they know that during lunch breaks, I would sneak away to indulge in snacks I hid in my car. The shame was suffocating, but I couldn't stop. The more I lied, the deeper I sank, and the harder it became to reach out for help. One evening, I stared at my reflection in the mirror and barely recognized the person looking back at me. My once vibrant eyes now seemed hollow, and my clothes, tighter than they should have been, were a reminder of my choices. I felt like a prisoner to my habits, shackled by impulses I couldn't control. The guilt was crushing. The breaking point came when my best friend confronted me after noticing I had been avoiding her. She asked me, point blank, what was going on. At first, I deflected, but when she wouldn't back down, I broke. I confessed everything, the late-night binges, the shopping addiction, and the overwhelming shame. As I spoke, tears streamed down my face, and for the first time in years, I felt a flicker of hope. Admitting my addiction was the first step, but the real journey began when I sought help. I found a therapist who didn't judge me, but instead helped me understand the root of my behaviors. It wasn't about the food or the shopping. It was about filling an emotional void I had ignored for years. Therapy wasn't easy. I had to confront painful truths about myself, my insecurities, and the loneliness I had buried deep. But each session gave me tools to rebuild my life, one step at a time. I learned to replace my unhealthy habits with positive ones, and slowly regained control over my choices. Recovery is not a straight line, and I still have moments where I struggle. But now I have a support system that keeps me accountable, friends who check in, a family that loves me unconditionally, and a therapist who reminds me of my progress. I've learned that addiction doesn't define who I am. It's a part of my story, but it's not the whole story. I'm sharing this today because I know how lonely it can feel to battle something in silence. If you're out there struggling, know that you're not alone. Seeking help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength.